did see that. Morning, Noel.
Good morning, everybody. Good Monday morning. Good morning to Rich. You may notice that Jim is not here. He is off this week. Rich from Grit Gear. That is right. The famous Rich Hunter from Grit Gear Apparel is here taking Jim's place.
I don't know if I'm famous, but...
Well, I'm just going to call you the better looking Jim. That's all I'm going to say. So you're the better looking Jim. And
if you say
I don't hate you. So
you don't.
We're good to go. So he is volunteered to come on and help this week, and we appreciate it, and we're so glad he's here. Today we're going to talk about, boy, you name it, everything that's in the news. JD Vance gets snubbed at a Pennsylvania restaurant, which is probably not far from your location, actually.
Correct.
Rich, we'll get into that.
Sure.
Kamala Harris, she's just plain old middle class, but she went and visited the border, and she had some things to say on the economy as well during an MSNBC interview, which we will discuss. Trump gets a great welcome at the Alabama-Georgia game, while Tim Walz does not at the Michigan-Minnesota game. That plus the illegals and the criminal illegals that have been let into our country that the mainstream media is not talking about. We're going to go into that. Do you want to say what the show's called, Rich? I almost called you Jim. Yeah. So all that today.
You can call me Jim. That's all right.
All that today on what, Rich Jim? 2
guys, 1 coup.
We will be right back. I think. Give me 1 minute here. Dun, 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 dun. Of course, that didn't go well as I thought because Jim's not here. So here it is.
There it is. Do it.
Wake the hell up, America. Be right back. You awake, Rich?
I'm awake. You know what? Before we even get started, I still say you have the best intro in all podcasts. What a great intro. Come on.
Yeah.
You have to love that. But I mean, if that don't get you going, if that doesn't get you going, nothing will.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is like I'm biased a little bit, but it's nice to hear from somebody else that it is by far the best intro.
It's by far. I mean, whoever did that did a wonderful job. I mean, to be able to put 2 guys, 1 coup in a song, that's saying something right there, easy. Right?
That's like Eminem level. I mean, that's hard to rhyme like that stuff.
I don't even know if the Beatles could have done that. Come on.
No, they could not have. No, they could not have. Rich, good to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much for volunteering to fill in.
Absolutely.
You know, those that have been with us, you saw Rich. He was on air with us at the Warrior Weekend for the Warrior Shield Foundation earlier this month. So we've learned a little bit about him and about his company, but we're so happy to have met you and Sharon and be affiliated with Grit Gear and Lock and Load. It was just a great honor for us, and this is normally when we go to the commercial, but I don't think we need to go right now to it.
No, that's
because you're here live in person.
I'm here.
So go ahead. No.
The only thing I was going to say is, first of all, before you, after the intro, I wanted to say it's an honor and privilege to be sitting in this seat for Jim, filling in for him. You know, I don't take that lightly. Great guy, and I appreciate it. So if he's listening, thank you, Jim, for allowing me to come in and fill in while you're away.
Yep. He, definitely is missed. It's weird. So like, obviously we have times where I'm gone or Jim's gone or what have you. And, Jim did some solo shows, which I'm sure is very difficult. I have not done a solo show, so I don't know what that's like. But I'm glad I don't have to. It's much easier doing with Jim or somebody else because you want to have that interaction. But Jim certainly is missed, and he deserves some time off. So he's got some time off, and he'll be back next Monday. But Rich, you're joining me again on Wednesday as well.
If you'll have me, I'll be here. I'll make time for
absolutely. It's an honor to
bounce
have you
things
here
off
as well.
each other. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully the audience will embrace me as well as they do Jim.
I'm sure they will. I mean, you're like you said, you're like good looking Jim, so it's like I'm sure they'll embrace you already. Another good reason to have you here too is because you are a small business owner.
That's correct.
Because you've worked hard to build that brand and that business, both you and your wife, and you've felt the effects of the economy, just like a lot of people out there, whether you own a business or not. But coming from a business owner's point of view, there's different effects you feel, and different concerns you have about a Kamala Harris presidency. Address what that's, if you don't mind, just so
I don't mind.
know, what is that? What's that like? What is it? What have you been through the last few years?
Well, obviously, as a business owner, we've taken hits on just product purchases and stuff like that. How things have gone up over inflation's definitely affected us, just like everybody else. Just going to the grocery store, But just to give you an example, pre-COVID, the white ink that we're both wearing on our shirts cost me $27 a gallon.
Exactly.
I pay $89 a gallon now.
Jeez.
So, and people don't realize
substantial.
Very much. And that's just one color. Every color's gone up. So as a business owner, that's inflation has hit us real hard. But obviously I don't know exactly Kamala presidency, what it would be completely like. I can only go by what the administration is doing now.
Correct.
And it's hard as a business owner to fathom if she were to get in and change the tax laws like she wants to. The Trump tax laws are falling off on 2025 if he's not reelected, and she's already stated that she will not reinstate them, which would cost us as a business owner probably about $4,000 to $6,000 more just in taxes as a small business,
which is a substantial hit to small business. That's your small business. I mean, you take every small business and that tax hit that it's going to take, and it's going to drive small businesses perhaps out of business.
Right. And we were talking before we came on live about how just supporting small business. My wife and I will go to a local hardware store and buy nuts, bolts, paint, whatever, instead of going to the big box chains, which is right around the corner. Try to support small businesses on that effect. One thing about small businesses that I'm sure most people are aware of, but probably whether they want to support it that way or not. But when you purchase from us, from my wife and I in our business, Grick or Lock and Load Coffee, that money stays here. It doesn't get shipped overseas. It doesn't go anywhere but in our community. So we pay taxes in our local community like everybody else. We own the building here, so we pay property taxes. So when there's levies, it affects us both from our home and our property on where we do our business. So we're paying double of that levy basically. But the money you spend here stays here. Now you go to these big box chain stores, maybe 50 to 75% of that money is shipped overseas to the location of where they're producing the product.
Correct.
And so we stress small business. That's what our country was founded on, and we need to continue supporting small businesses. So if you have one of those businesses around your town where there's a big box chain as well. I recommend support. I understand, and this is the two-edged sword here, is that for the most part, it might be a little bit more money, but it's a good feeling knowing when you lay your head down at night that you're supporting your community by keeping that money within your community and it's not being shipped out. And quite frankly, people like coming to our store because you know my wife, she's very friendly, and and we always tell people when you walk in the Greek here, it's an hour stay. It is. Get a cup of coffee. We sit down, we talk to you. So there's some friendship that you don't get.
Correct.
Have you ever walked in I don't know if I can say Lowe's, but
you can say
you ever walked into Lowe's and try and find someone to help you if you need help?
No. And even if they're working down the aisle that you need something from, they're like, let me look it up.
I know more than you, so you can't help me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know more than you have.
I know more than you.
Swanson
you really can't help me. Yeah, Ron Swanson, exactly. That's where reference from. But so you know, as a small business, you know, we like to support small business as well. It's not something that, you know, because I'm asking people to support small businesses that we don't do it as well. So
exactly.
You know,
you're right.
You're right. You've got to.
You have to, or else, you know, it is all going to be big box. And then even then, I think the whole plan in general for Democrats and or the Harris regime would be to have it all government controlled anyways. So whether it's a big box store, it will be whatever they want to sell you, whatever they, and it substantially will be more. It will substantially be more because they'll have control over it. So
and you're absolutely. A lot of people don't realize what socialism is. Basically, it's a factor where everybody's making basically the same amount of money, whether what you're doing. So if I'm making $150,000 a year profit, but the government says, well, everybody only makes 100,000, I have to give that $50,000 in taxes to generate money elsewhere to people that's maybe not putting in the time and effort that I am.
Correct.
So, you know, that doesn't go well with me. I'm a hard worker. I mean, my wife and I both are. We spend a lot of hours and time doing our work, and my kids know that. My family knows that. And they support us based on that, you know. And we don't have to have the exact same political view, but
you don't.
But we support each other regardless in that.
Exactly. So good points there. Just a couple comments here from these guys. Another good podcast. If you're not familiar with it, it's called To The Point Podcast. Go support them as well. They're good people, become good friends of ours. Morning to you as well. Morning Buckeye, morning everybody listening. We appreciate it. Excuse me. Let's stick with go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah. Hey, does everybody know that Dale had a birthday yesterday?
Oh,
so happy birthday, Dale.
Thank you.
You know, that's not going on notice. You know, he turned 36 yesterday.
Oh, I did. Yeah. 36. Yeah. I turned 36. Such a 36
birthday,
with
my
a
friend.
36-year-old son. So
but happy birthday.
The miracle. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah. That's nice of you. And I appreciate that. You know, birthdays on a Sunday, Rich, are always kind of weird to me.
Really?
I don't know why. It's just like a kind of, because I like my Sundays to be just, you know, kind of filled with
non-effort day.
Non-effort day.
Non-effort day. Just
you know, I prefer that, but
coffee, pajamas, and a movie.
Yeah. We actually did most of the celebrating and stuff, and my son came down from Atlanta, and he lives west of Atlanta, almost where that biolab explosion took place. So he's close to that, but not in the evacuation zone. But that's he had to drive back yesterday during all that going on. So it was you know, traffic in Atlanta, if you've never been there, is a nightmare to begin with. So that made it even worse.
Right.
But and Lord knows what's being spewed into the air there. I know they make pool chemicals there, they say, but I'm sure it'll be handled by the current administration well, just like the hurricane funding is. I don't know if you heard this. Did you hear this? That Biden said that
he said no more funding.
No more funding.
No more funding. point blank asked him
Yep.
if there was going to be some more funding for Floridians, I believe, right? Was he
Well,
in
it's
Florida?
all North Carolina,
all-
Georgia,
all-
and Tennessee got even worse than we did. Hardly.
And North Carolina was, I mean, our prayers go out
Oh
to them.
Lord,
The
it's
devastation.
terrible there.
I mean, I know you're in Florida, but you're
Mm.
in the pan up on top of the
Yeah.
under Alabama, right? So
Yep,
you didn't
correct.
you
So
didn't get
we didn't
you
get
just got
anything.
some rain, right?
Yep, that's it. Rained, light wind, hardly
Yeah.
anything
It's been raining here in Ohio for 4 days, so
because of that storm. Still,
I'm assuming so. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't get rain all summer. Now it's 4 days straight. It's been raining.
well,
but-
they've got even power outages as far as southern Ohio because of the
Yeah.
storm. So it's devastating. North Carolina and eastern Georgia are just absolutely decimated there.
Well, and it shows just how vulnerable we really are. I mean,
Yep.
hurricanes, tornadoes, weather, and I know they'll blame a lot of this probably on climate control.
Oh, that's right. Climate change. That's why we had a hurricane like we have
climate
every
change.
year.
Yeah, global warming. I'm not sure what they're calling it these days, but
yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's not the case. I mean, we've
That's
had
not the case.
hurricanes my whole life in October, end of September, in the
Yeah.
southern region of the United States.
And the water's
always
hot.
seems to
Heats
get-
up all summer. That's what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
what
it's just what happens. It comes through the Gulf and over the top, and I mean,
But like
don't know.
everything, Jim or Rich, they got to make
Rich,
it political.
it's good.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say Jim. It's Rich. Like everything. So at least I'm thinking of you, Jim. But
Yeah, exactly.
like everything, Rich, it's political. They'll make it political. It's like when there's a shooting, like, it doesn't matter. Everything's going to be politicized one way or the other. Thank you, Buckeye. Appreciate it. Now that Rich has let the cat out of the bag.
I did. I didn't know if that was acceptable, but
I told you, Rich, everything's acceptable here. Unfortunately, let's stick with Kamala. We wanted to kind of really talk about a little bit. Was she interviewed on them? She sat down for her first true solo interview with MSNBC. And it was a epic failure, like we all knew it would be. So,
and if she goes off script, it's never.
Oh, she even if she's wearing the earpiece earrings, I mean, she can't. And I think she still was on this one. Rumor has it. I can't say if it's true she had those, but it's suspicious, right? So we've all heard Kamala talk, and debate Kamala was not the Kamala we all know.
There was something definitely different.
Something
that
off.
night. I don't know if she got the answers prior. I mean, I think the whistleblowers.
I think there's a combination of it all. Yep.
That she got the answers before, or not the answers, the questions, or at least somewhat of the questions, how they were going to be worded.
Yep.
And that she would not be fact checked.
Yep. Exactly. Well, how's her economy going to handle it? What's going to happen if say the GOP takes over the Senate and has control of the House? How is she going to negotiate all that and get her budgetary numbers and make the economy better and all that? She had quite the answer on MSNBC. Rich,
did.
I'm going to play that now. If we need to stop it, if you want to stop and talk about it, just let me know, or we can wait till the end of it. But it's a typical Kamala answer when she's off script and unprepared, which is 90% of the time. So let's listen to this.
Child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair.
Rich, do people understand? You think the common voter out there understands what the rich pays? Because maybe they're not paying an income tax, but the amount of taxes the rich have to pay is
absurd.
It's absurd.
They pay a lot. I mean, I'm not even.
We all pay a lot.
Well, there's more to it. I think you have more to it.
I'm going to finish
my comments to the end, but go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share. And it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
Bill Gates just said it this week. If he was in charge of taxes, he would have paid more. But how do you find that line to make sure corporations are paying their fair share, but they're not leaving our country?
Well, listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. They also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine that is about investing in the middle class, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, invest in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits.
Well, Rich, your thoughts?
Did she even understand the question?
No.
That would be my first thought. I mean, what kind of offline answer was that? I mean,
Correct.
it was a very direct question, which, hey,
Should have been
I commend the moderator there. You know, making a question that's actually needs answered.
needs
But she
answered.
went I don't even know if she understood the question.
She didn't.
As far as talking to CEOs and helping small business, I assure you the tax plan that she has laid out will not help small businesses, especially myself, based on how the Trump tax laws are still in place till next year are. So, I mean, I've got a little note here. It's called, she was called the tax queen. Largest small business tax hike ever. These are statistics, and it was on Instagram and fact checked, and no fact checked it because it's true. Largest small business tax hike ever. Largest corporate tax hike ever. Largest tax hike on families ever. Largest capital gains tax ever. And this is a good one here. You guys, I know you guys like this one. Brand new tax on unrealized gains.
That's
and
the
brand
one
new,
that
brand new national energy tax. So we're going to have a tax on our energy and unrealized gains. And if people don't realize what unrealized tax is, I'll just do it in a very layman's term here. If you buy a house for $100,000 and you end up, and that house appreciates over 5 years or whatever time, and it's now worth $150,000. The government's coming in and saying you owe taxes on that $50,000 way before you even sell the property. So you've got to come up with that amount, and it's every year that it's gone up, you pay taxes on it. So that's the tax. That's on realized gain taxes. So we're going to be paying out of your own pocket because you haven't sold the house, but you know that's going to be unrealized. Which
that's right. That's just like stocks. That's just because buy stock in Facebook at $100 a share, it goes up to $150 a share. I decide not to sell it. I got to pay the extra $50 per share that I have taxes on, and then it drops to $65 a share, and then I sell it, and I still have to pay taxes on that. So that's ridiculous.
So it's a tax that we don't need, don't want, and definitely shouldn't be there. I mean,
it's a killer for the middle class. She so speaks highly of.
Definitely, this is where when she said, "If you don't make over, as Biden did, over $400,000, it won't affect you."
That's BS.
Well, that's not true, because this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be paying, especially middle class. Middle class is paying the bulk of our taxes. I get it, but for them to sit there and say that the millionaires, billionaires don't pay their share of taxes. They pay a lot more taxes than I do. They make a lot more money than I do, and they
just
still
in
pay
payroll
more
tax. Imagine what they pay.
Payroll
tax.
Yeah,
And
in retrospect to what Trump is doing, they've always gone after him for his taxes, but he's only used legally what was in place from Obama. So
that's right.
He legally used the tax credits that was able. And Hillary was doing the same thing. So,
it's true. It's very true.
I don't agree with her on that. I think she didn't even understand the question.
She and that's the sad part. She did not understand the question at all, and she went around the answer. MSNBC interviewed the person who interviewed. I'm sorry, I don't know her name, and I had it. Who interviewed Kamala, and she even said, she made an excuse for Kamala, as MSNBC will do, but she
Right.
said no. She kind of went around the question. She didn't really answer the questions, but she's a politician, and that's what politicians do. So there's the problem. You ask Trump a question, it may take a little bit because, you know, Trump speaks his mind and he says what he wants. It might take a little bit, but he's going to tell you exactly what his plan is and how he's going to get there, you know?
Exactly. And
Yep.
one thing you see with Trump is when he's asked a question, you can see it being processed in his brain before he answers. You can see him think about his answer. Now,
Not
that's
a
not to
blank
say
stare.
that everything he says I agree with, or everything that he does I agree with.
Mhm.
But as a business owner, I can tell you he is the person that would align with what I'm doing as far as supporting
Correct.
my family and trying to
Correct.
keep
He
food on
aligns
our-
with that, and he aligns with the American first values that I live by myself.
Right.
So obviously I am not for the agenda of transitioning children, you know, or
No.
giving puberty blockers to minors. I'm not of
No.
the let me take your guns away. I'm not of let
Nope.
me tax you higher. So there's one clear choice, obviously, for America. And you know,
Well, you're absolutely right. And Kamala, you know, there's a tape playing on social media where Kamala, I think it was a couple of years ago, where she talked about just because you're a law-abiding citizen and owning a gun doesn't mean we won't come into your home and make sure
Correct.
that you're handling that gun in the proper way.
which means taking it away from you.
Basically,
That's what it
you have it left out. Oh, we're taking it away. That's supposed to be in a
Correct.
safe place in your home.
That's
We're
right.
we're taking it
Good
away. I
point.
mean, that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to
Mhm.
them stating the fact that based on what they think, I'm not handling my firearms correctly.
You're right. You're right.
And Sharon and I have grandkids, and my guns are nowhere to be found when my
Correct.
grandkids are in my
Because
home.
you're a responsible gun owner, like you know,
Right.
millions and millions and millions
But
that are.
But one thing with kids, you need to teach these kids about
do.
safety, first of all. I mean, when I was 9 years old, my dad taught me how to shoot a 22 rifle and the importance of never pointing that gun at anybody, and anything you pointed at, you were going to shoot.
Correct.
So you don't point it at people. So
You
unless
don't. You never do.
obviously, unless your life is threatened.
Yep, exactly.
Thank
Correct.
you for the good care.
Oh, you're welcome. There it is. Let's get to a couple other things here.
Yeah, bring it
with
on.
Kamala.
Let's do it.
This is
fun.
this is an interesting story. So apparently there was an ad running that were two Pennsylvania farmers. I don't know if you saw this or not, but that were Trump supporters in 2020 who have now switched to Kamala Harris. Okay, two Pennsylvania. You have not seen this.
I've not
Okay, well,
seen
here's
that.
the story on it. And as usual, it took somebody outside of our country, media, Sky News in Australia, to investigate this, point it out, and figure it out, because our current media will not. So you'll be interested. Let me play this real quick here. Rich.
Absolutely.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have been accused of deliberate misinformation. They've released a political ad that claims to depict two former Trump voters who live in Pennsylvania and who have switched to Team Kamala after the horrors of January 6th. But this pair of farmers shown in the ad appear to, in fact, be two actors, Robert Lang and Christina Chadwick, and they have an extensive history of Kosher of donating to the Democrats and leftist causes dating back to at least 2016. For a party that talks endlessly about the dangers of disinformation and misinformation, they engage in plenty of it.
Yeah, so this is great investigative journalism by the journalists that went and found that out. I think it's another illustration of just what is a very synthetic campaign and a very synthetic candidate, where everything is manufactured from her anointment after Biden was pushed out to just the way the campaign is being run and very limited media, as we just discussed, and then creating sort of these narratives, or almost fictional narratives, of these two Trump supporters who turned, supposedly in this case, and it turns out they're Democrat actors. You can't make this stuff up, and it's pretty brazen. But the question, of course, is, will these antics make it into the mainstream or not with a media that's very favorable to her. But to the extent that it does, I do think things like this are damaging because it just goes to that point that she's not a very authentic candidate.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, not surprising because they're bussing in people to her events anyways. They're paying people to come to her events. We know that. The only way people can come to it is if she has some, disgusting, honestly, pig rapper up there, I mean, ahead of time at a concert, I mean, that's just exactly what happens. So that's not surprising, but you're never going to see that on MSNBC or CNN or ABC or CBS, but paid actors claiming to be Trump supporters, farmers,
right.
Yeah. Now, a specific group that she needs to target, saying, yeah, we were Trump supporters. And then it turns out they donated to Democrats since 2016 and they're paid actors. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. The whole campaign's a farce. The whole, like you said, from them installing her as the candidate to now this kind of crap. It's all, you can't make it up. It's absolutely obvious.
And you remember in 2020, this woman dropped out with 1% of the vote.
Yeah.
Less than 1%.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And because nobody wanted her. And all of a sudden she's this person that everybody loves.
Oh, she's the second coming of Obama to the Democrat Party. It's unbelievable.
If I could say something, I think if you're voting, if you're using your vote because she's a woman or a woman of color, I think you're giving your vote away.
Agreed.
I don't vote based on your gender, should I say?
No. Or color or
color.
Yeah.
I vote on policies. That's what we need to be at. If she was the clear candidate in policies and what she represented, that would get my vote. I wouldn't. I start with policies. I start with whether it be my faith or I start there and work my way down. And and that's the problem with people are voting for her. I feel
correct.
If you see any newsreel, why are you voting for Kamala? Well, because I hate Trump.
Because that's right.
That shouldn't be the answer.
That should not be it.
Because you know what? If someone says if you're voting for Trump, why are you voting for them? Nobody will say because I hate Kamala.
Correct.
That doesn't come up. It's because I trust in his policies. I saw his track record when he was president in 2016.
There's a history already.
There's a history, and there's a history with Kamala too. Let's not forget that. I mean, whether from California or the last 3.5 years, why hadn't she done everything that she's talking that she's going to? Or, I mean, let's face it. She walks into the Oval Office, Biden would have just signed whatever she probably put
exactly.
in front of him. I mean,
of course.
I mean, okay, I'll do it. Whatever. I'm sorry. I don't. I don't want to. Do ill.
Make fun of the elderly,
I don't. It's not. Well, and I'm there anyways. But
okay.
I don't wish any bad on anybody. I mean,
of course.
But
we're not Democrats. We don't act that way.
Certain people should not be running our country.
No.
I mean. The government should not be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of us.
Well, they work for us, right?
That's right.
Been
We are the
for
people.
a long time now.
Right. We, the people, are not the government. We, the people,
That's right.
are us. It's the
That's right.
taxpayers. It's the voters. It's the people that legally are citizens in the United States.
Yep. So, exactly. Rich, I know you probably don't want to, but I am going to play the Great Garrett commercial. I know. Right. And you've probably seen it before, but for those who haven't.
I've not seen this.
For those who haven't, let's hear from Rich and sort of see Sharon and hear from
my wife from the very beginning. Right in the
very beginning. That's the only time you're ever going to see it. So, hold on. Here it is. We'll be right back.
Sure.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Wow.
You got that
That
right.
is awesome.
Is that not awesome? I mean,
Hey, right.
Yeah.
Can I say a couple things about that video real quick? One, my daughter did the video. She made the video, which is Elevation Studios. She does a lot of weddings. She's out of the Pittsburgh area. So if you're in that area, please support her or look her up. Elevation Studios. She did that. She's going to be doing a coffee one for us here soon as well, where we're roasting and bagging and things of that nature. And then Ryan Weaver is singing the song behind there, and you saw his picture that we have in our store there of him in the Afghanistan hero shirt that we made and donated all back to the family members. But so she put that together, and then you did the voiceover, which phenomenal. I mean, and I know that's if you go on our website, that narrative is basically our storyline. So appreciate it.
Yeah, no, hey man, it was listen, it's an honor to, like I've said, to be a part of it. It's even more than that though. It's not even it's just it's such a pleasure to be affiliated with you and meet you, and of course meet Ryan and everybody. I mean, there's so many good people, and what you folks do, you're selfless. You are. I mean, you truly are selfless. You're hardworking. You volunteer. You do so much for Warrior Shield in general.
Warrior Shield,
Printed all the shirts for Warriors. I mean, this is all out of pocket, really selfless stuff you do for the community, for a good charity. It's amazing. I mean, you guys are just truly, sometimes you run across people and you're like, man, those are just great people. But the other ones really change your life. And you and Sharon have both done that for me and Jim. I can speak for Jim.
That's
we appreciate
very nice of you to say.
Sharon
and I feel the same way. I mean, our store is family owned. I mean, literally, like I said, my daughter did that video, and my other daughter makes all our beanie hats. She has 2 kids, and she sits down and hand sews. She's working hard right now for the winter, so she makes all our beanie hats, and our other daughter makes stone bracelets for us that we sell.
Wow. Okay, that part I didn't know. Yeah.
My wife made this one, but this is sort of what she does. So everything we do, we try to incorporate any family members that's willing to support us. And
that's awesome. You do an amazing job at it too. I can't wait to get to the brick and mortar. I'm going to go.
Come on.
So I literally got to get up there. Shortly.
Get Ryan up here too.
Yeah, I know.
I've been telling him get up. I meant to take that picture down to Warrior Shield Foundation and have him sign it. And
next he'll be there next year. Next year, folks, he will be there. Thank you, Buckout, for putting that up. WarriorShield.org. We appreciate that too. Go on.
This picture here, this flag. It's got your signature on the back.
Yeah, I know. We're famous. It got our. You're famous. We just devalued
with
the back
with Tig and Greg Jackson and all them, and Bo Bice and Ryan, and 2 guys in
2 guys. 1
had to have you do it.
Oh, it was awesome. It was so nice. We appreciate it. But speaking of that, so the whole Pittsburgh area. Oh, a little thing happened to JD Vance in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Fremantle. Have you ever been there? I mean, you're not far from there. So have you ever been to that restaurant or that chain?
I have not.
Okay.
We're about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. So, but don't go.
Don't go now. But this, I know we've probably seen it and heard it, but this is, the first one I'm going to play you is his supporters waiting inside the restaurant. JD Vance is parked outside. And of course, ownership saying that, sorry, no go. He can't come in, even though, and I preface this by saying he got permission. They knew he was coming. This was planned ahead of time. And a month before, Kamala held an event there. So and it was fine, right? So that's who you're dealing with here. But here's what happened once the patrons were told that, nope, we're not letting them in.
The manager went outside, told them they need to leave. They will call the police if he comes south. Unfortunately, he cannot come in. So what's going to happen is that they're going to take down our name, all our information, so the next time the kitchen crew's running out, because everyone's canceling their orders. Everyone just canceled all the orders, and we're just paying for what we drink, and then everyone's leaving. But yes, unfortunately, Vance cannot come out of his car, cannot shake our hands, because Primanti's Brothers does not want him in here whatsoever. So that is what's happening. There you go.
That we leave.
Yep.
We are now banned from Primanti Brothers.
Yep. Terrible.
It's amazing. It's amazing what
country we living in.
What country are we living in? Exactly.
I mean,
this is unbelievable. He was approved VP candidate, and okay, so as a business owner, that's fine to have your political beliefs. You do. That's fine. We all do. Okay.
Correct.
But you got to understand there's ramifications to that. If you let your it's risky for you, maybe, Rich, to be like, I disagree with this, or I disagree, but your values stand stronger than what and maybe theirs do. And that's fine. They can go ahead and have that we are for Kamala, I'm with her mentality, whatever they want to have. But you don't approve it, plan it, have Vance supporters there, and then pull this. That's the thing.
That was the gist of it. You're right.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Hey, I'm all for people having their own political views, whether you're right, left, in between, undecided. I mean, that's what America. That's together we stand united. Though we can have different views, but we need to come together and find a common ground or at least I think if you ask anybody, nobody wants to pay more taxes. Nobody wants to be housebroken into and confiscate things.
No. We don't want dirty water.
I think we can all agree to that. But
yeah, we can all agree to that. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in a business owner, I've never not allowed anybody to come into my establishment. I don't. If you're, if you're a Kamala supporter, you may not find the product that you want here.
It may not be the store for you, but you're welcome.
It may not be the store, but I'm never going to say you can't come in here.
Yeah.
And as a person, as a human being, I can be civilized with anybody.
Sure.
But once you go into you're threatening me or my family, my kids, my grandkids, now we have a different problem.
There's a problem.
Now you've crossed the line. Now
that's right.
I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. Come on, you've crossed the line. And what's going on here? That's just not the way we should be. I mean,
it's not America.
They just didn't want him in there based on who he was, right?
Who he was.
That would have came because of who he was, what he represented. But
which is still, again, their prerogative.
It is their prerogative. Yes. I mean,
they can do it. That's the beauty of it, right?
Just
like I can refuse to bake a cake for a gay married couple if that's what I choose. But I also expect, there will be some ramifications to that one way or the other. And that's fine.
But, and we live in America, so they can definitely do that if they can do that.
Correct.
So I don't want the audience thinking that we're saying, well, we're for capitalism, we're for small businesses, but we can't dictate who can come in. You definitely can.
You can.
But it's the point that they were not letting him in based on who he was.
And that it was pre-planned and they knew about it and they got approval. So there's a lot of variables there that you're not hearing Kamala say, because she's babbling about how he wasn't allowed in. Of course, they're taking that as a victory because they have no victories to take. But here's what I thought was impressive was JD Vance's response to the crowd. They came outside, he stepped out of the car, and this is what he had to say.
Yep. Food, we gave him a nice tip. And of course, when I gave him a nice tip, I said, no taxes on tip. It's all right. Don't hold it against her. She just got a little nervous, but it's a great local business. Let's keep on supporting it. And most importantly, November 5th or before, go vote. Let's go win this thing.
That's a classy. That's a classy response.
That's
right?
a class act there. I mean,
Yep.
it would be real easy to take a different avenue than he just
It sure
did.
would, like I do,
I
like I
mean,
am right now. You know,
well, and yeah, I mean, one thing I have is when someone lashes to me, it's human nature to lash back.
it is.
Especially as a man to come back fighting.
Mhm.
That
was
right there,
impressive.
that
They
was
said,
cool.
don't hold it against them. It's a great small business. I mean, they're
And he didn't put him down. He basically is still
He did
patron-
not.
still go there. He says she just got a little
But-
nervous.
yeah, it's fine. Still go there, but
But
you
I don't
know,
think
as conservatives and America First people do, and us mega deplorables, you know, you can give them the Bud Light treatment. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's you're again, the ramifications. They're going to fall where you lie. Again, it's like me. I watch a movie. I don't want to know your political views. Just
Exactly.
entertain me. Dance for
Exactly.
me, monkey. Right? I mean, that's your job. Like you're do what you do. It's when
Right.
they become political and they start doing. I'm like, well, no, I don't need you. I don't want to know it. I don't need it. So therefore, I don't spend my money with them.
Right.
Same thing
Right.
I wouldn't do here with this restaurant. I would not spend
Right.
my money. on it.
And I concur with that. I mean, when you
Mhm.
think about some of the actors, Robert De Niro, some of the people that's come out and just and I love Robert De Niro movies. I mean, he's a
Mhm.
great actor, but I have a hard time watching any of his movies anymore.
Me too. Exactly. Right.
Excuse me.
Exactly.
Or supporting him based on he opened his mouth about his political views. So
Sorry.
just
That's what you get.
you're a paid
Shut up and do your
actor.
job.
You're a paid actor.
Yeah.
And we pay you for entertainment. We
Yeah.
support you for entertainment. I don't go into any place and spout off what I believe. Now,
Correct.
granted, we're in a format that represents
is
what
it.
we stand for, right? So,
Correct. And you can
um,
listen or not listen. Or you
Exactly,
can make
and
bad comments or good comments. That's
right. I
your
mean,
choice.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
say you disagree with us,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's what makes this America, because we
Correct.
can disagree, but on disagreeing.
I'm disagreeing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. But when you come out and Madonna saying she has thought several times of blowing up the White House,
Exactly.
we got other politicians stating that we need to get out in front of people and fight.
Mhm.
This is not the way we should operate.
And then there's going to be a different view from me towards you. And if you're a
Exactly.
business that's doing it, you're not going to get my money, and that's it. Here, Buckeye had a comment here. My husband has never not done a roof or siding job for someone just because they have a Biden or Harris sign in their yard.
Very good.
Exactly.
Exactly. But let me flip that, Buckeye. Would the other side not do a roof if there was
Of course. And you know that because we see it time and time again. We see it time and time again. They run Republicans out of restaurants. Just, it doesn't matter. We've seen it with Republican organizations where they have not allowed them to hold their meetings at certain locations and all that just because of that. So you're right. That's exactly it wouldn't happen. Mhm.
And I don't see anybody stealing Biden or Kamala signs in people's yards like they did with Trump. They would literally come in and steal them out of people's
Well,
yards.
it's super
To the point
hard
that
to
one guy
find
was
a Harris wall sign.
Wow.
It's hard to find in my neighborhood. I can tell you that.
I'm the same way. We're Sharon and I are very fortunate that we live in we live in a village of just 4,000, 5,000 people. So
Mhm.
it's majority red here and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But I mean, it's come to the point where if you put the American flag on your house, you're racist, or this. If I have an American flag on my house, you know who I'm voting for.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way. I
But
mean,
it's
if I have
true.
an American flag on my house, it means I represent what this flag stands for. I mean, people have died for the freedom of our flag. People have sacrificed. Ryan, he has a 2 Gold Star member. His brother and brother-in-law both passed away in combat. So people have died for this flag and for what it represents. And
Correct.
I, for one, fly our flag not because I'm anti-Kamala or anti-Democrat.
I'm
I fly it
pro-America, and
I'm
I'm
pro-America.
pro-appreciative of those who fought for it. and died.
Right.
For
I mean,
and continue to fight.
I mean, I've had family members that came back with PSD and where you know, I had an uncle that committed suicide because of he was in the Vietnam War and
That's
came
terrible.
back. And, I mean, we still are fighting that to this day. 22 veterans commit suicide on an average daily that people probably aren't aware of, and we need to realize that this flag represents the people who fought in Arlington and many other grave sites around the world that gave up their life for this flag. And we need to represent that. And that's why I put my flag up, pro-America. America first, not Ukraine, not Israel, not America first. How much money we've given to Ukraine now? Like $750 billion?
So I can't even count anymore. But like we mentioned, there's nothing going to the hurricane victims at all. No more.
That's my point, right? But
no
we're
more
giving money to
yeah. But that's it. That's the point. So giving away to foreign countries and wars that should not be taking place, that we should have nothing to do with, but to take care of your own citizens, you can't count on the Democrats to do that. And we know that. We know that now, you know. So honestly, one clear vote. This is different. So I'm gonna post this comment and then explain. You might have heard it, but this is from actually Eddie Smith, who is the actually founder of the Patriots Prayer Network. Is from Vegas, the Vegas area. And did you hear about so this is what he has. Last night I went out in the desert between Las Vegas and Utah and took video footage of the 40-foot Trump statue. Did you hear about that by any chance? I don't know if you heard that this morning. Completely nude and anatomically correct, hanging from a noose. So somebody erected this. Yes. So it's like a 6,000-pound statue that somebody erected in the middle of the desert, Nevada, in Nevada, of a Donald Trump, completely nude, anatomically correct. So everything there. Somebody did this. I don't know who that somebody is. I don't know who that was. Eddie might be able to tell us that. He tells us here too also. I think I got to remove this one. Hold on a sec. Yeah, he says, so let's remove that. And then if you look at my X profile, you'll see the video of me in the desert with the statue. So that's, the Patriots Prayer on X, which is we're affiliated with, and all that. It'll be on there. But that's, I don't know if you saw that or at all.
I did not see it.
It's terrible.
Saying it's breaking news now. So, I mean,
yeah, well, it's out there and it happened last night, and it's, he was from that area. So he went out there and did that, but I'm just letting people know that's the kind of political, nonsense we're involved with now. Imagine a 6,000-pound anatomically correct nude statue of Kamala Harris. What would hanging from a noose, by the way? What would that?
It would not go over well. I mean,
it would not go over well.
All over the news. It'd be all over all the news.
Yeah.
I don't know where is this being broadcast on any news? I would not say like CNN and all that. Maybe Fox or something like that nature.
Yeah, probably Fox would, or Newsmax, or OAN might be. Yeah, you're not going to see that. You're never going to see that. Lester Holt isn't going to tell you about that happening. Trust me.
I don't even know if I can even comprehend all that. I mean, the fact that that's even
a
being
thing.
Done.
So you'll have to go out and check it out afterwards, the picture of it and all that, and maybe go on I'll send you a link to that or something like that, just for you to see what it's absolutely disgusting. And it's of course the political climate we live in these days, but fear not. We say these things, but over the weekend there was some big college football games.
Yes.
There was an Alabama Georgia game, which I myself, I'm an Ohio State guy, so I loved watching it because it's a good game, and they're two great teams, and I'm not an Alabama fan at all. Everybody knows that. I hate them personally. That's a word I can use, but not as much as Michigan, not as much as I hate Michigan. But at any rate, Donald Trump went to the game. He also went, Kid Rock was there, Hank Williams Jr. was there. Clay Travis was there. There was a bunch of people there and all that, but they went there, and this is him, before the game starts, him in the crowd. So I just want to play a couple of videos and then contrast that with Tim Walz going to the Michigan-Minnesota game. So here's Trump before the game started. Oh, there's John Daly. He was there too.
Throwing out food there.
Yeah, giving that food away. College kids, youth, by the way.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah,
You want to say something?
The left will say, well, it's Alabama. I mean, so he's going to win Alabama anyway. So
it's Georgia too.
It's
the
right.
Alabama Georgia game, but yeah,
right.
it's.
But, I mean, it was played in Alabama though, correct?
It was. Yeah, it was Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what it wasn't California, but
yeah, it wasn't California. It wasn't anywhere in New York. It wasn't Minnesota. It wasn't Pennsylvania.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But you get the gist of that. I'll agree with that. But I'm just here's what the crowd sounded like when they showed him on the jumbotron. It speaks volumes. Crazy. So there's that. Okay.
That's impressive.
So that's impressive. That's impressive. Go on.
How's this race even according to the polls?
No, Jim and I talk about this all the time. How's this even possibly close?
Who's voting for Kamala?
No. What?
Anywhere I go. Go ahead.
No, idiots. Everywhere. Me too. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting there hanging around a bunch of liberal circles, but I go places across this country quite often.
Right.
And nobody I'm talking to is like, Harris Walz. Nobody is. And that's exactly kind of to me how it was in 2020 when it was Biden and Harris.
Right.
Nobody was talking about it. He wasn't drawing crowds. Nobody was impressed. They knew he wasn't able to run the country. They knew his mental capacity wasn't there. But yet he won, and we know
81 million votes.
81 million, the most ever of any presidential candidate.
Most ever.
So Kamala's due to get at least 85 to 90, I'm guessing. Million.
Well, they're going to have to get
rate.
it at because I think Trump's going to be in the 80s just by himself this year.
Just by himself. I think he already was in 2020, and then that's what's happening there.
I don't know how you can look at that and go, okay, this race is close.
Yeah, especially with this video. So here's Walz when his motorcade shows up to the Michigan-Minnesota game. So here's this one.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
It's the only time I agree with Michigan fans ever in my life.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Look at the excitement. The enthusiasm for Tim Walz.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's not close. And then
and those are the people going to the game. They're not there for him. I mean, don't be confused by that. Those people waiting to get into the game, not to go see Tim Walz show up.
Tim Walz.
And there's another part of that video where he's walking through the tunnel. I don't know if you have that, but where he's walking through, he's waving to people that are ignoring him.
There's nobody there to see him.
There's
and supposedly he gave the middle fingers, a couple different angles. I don't know that he did that, but he might have because he's that weird and stupid. But here's the other thing that got me though, Rich. I'm going to get your opinion on. So he shows up. He's the governor of Minnesota. The game is Michigan against Minnesota. He shows up in Michigan gear, rooting for Michigan. Why? Yeah. Because you need to take Michigan. You think you got Minnesota in the bag, and most likely you do. Huh?
That's pandering. That's
what
pandering.
That's
the word.
It's pandering.
I'm for Minnesota, but I'm going to wear Michigan.
I'm going to wear
flag.
the Michigan stuff and root for Michigan. Yeah, because they need to take Michigan because they're losing. They're absolutely getting destroyed with the auto workers and the UAW and the unions and the voters in general, the black community, you name it. They're losing every demographic there.
Right. Kamala
But
cannot
the
win.
race
if
is
she
close
doesn't-
though.
Yeah, Kamala cannot win if she doesn't take Michigan,
And PA.
possibly PA,
Yep.
and maybe even Nevada or South Carolina, or in Virginia. I hear that it's closer than what it appears now too.
Closer to one it appears. They still have it going blue, but that's
Yeah.
but Nevada, they now got
As a
pretty red, which is
Pretty red.
nice. Yep. We'll
Yep.
see.
Yeah,
We will see.
With the bordering state from California, and it's, they call California like half hour after or 10 minutes after the polls close in California.
I
It's blue.
know. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
blue. It's just like
in Oregon and Washington, but
Washington.
you-
You're right.
but
All
they
of them.
just boom, boom, boom. As soon as they're they're blue. They don't even
They're
count
blue.
the
Yeah.
15%, and it's automatic.
Yep. Harris to California. Harris is taking Washington. Harris is taking Oregon. Okay.
Yeah, and
You know.
Colorado and probably New Mexico.
There is no
those are
such
blue-
thing as a blue state. There are only blue cities. That's
That is
the key.
correct.
Yep.
When you
No
look
such
at
thing
Pen-
as a blue state.
When you look at
So-
Pennsylvania, you look at Pittsburgh, Philadelphia,
And Philadelphia.
Those are the two big cities in that state that
Mhm.
pretty much will decide,
Yep.
possibly.
Exactly.
But the polls are showing that she's not even winning as well as Biden did in Philadelphia right
Correct.
now.
Yep.
So she's got to have like a 400,000 higher vote just coming out of Philadelphia to actually take
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. But
She is
I don't
not
know.
taking Nevada. Says
she's not taking
Eddie.
Nevada.
Well,
Yeah.
we better. I would hope not, but
I definitely.
keep an eye on the actual.
Or Arizona.
in-day vote.
Arizona's another one too that
Or-
they keep saying that she's going to take.
Yep, because Biden did in 2020. Supposedly, we know he didn't because of the voter rolls and we know what happened. I mean, it's not. We absolutely know what happened here. I'll kind of give you some example of that.
Sure.
This just came out. If you don't mind me playing this, Rich, that
Yeah.
there were ballots shipped from Virginia to Pennsylvania back in 2020. Why would they do that? But here's kind of a little story on that.
Demonstrates, and it's through eyewitness testimony that's been corroborated by others through their eyewitness statements, that 130,000 to 280,000 completed ballots for the 2020 general election were shipped from Bethpage, New York to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where those ballots and the trailer in which they were shipped disappeared.
And
I'm
I
sorry,
remember
what?
that. I remembered that. I
That's
remembered that.
insane.
I'm like, what happened to those ballots? And Biden, according to the poll, to the count, he only won Pennsylvania by a couple hundred thousand. It wasn't that much.
Not even. No, it was like 70,000 or something.
70. I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure someone probably knows.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's obviously what they're doing. They brought those into.
Yep.
Mail ballots must be stopped. Oh,
They must be. We know that.
Don't get me started on that. Early voting and mail. Let's just here's my thought. Let's have 1 day voting. Let's make it
Agreed.
a national holiday, so
That's
everybody
right.
could be off work.
Yep.
Just for the president. I'm not talking all the elections, just for the presidential. Every 4 years, make it a holiday, and have that where everybody can be off. Can't give an excuse. Well, I got to work. I can't get there by 7 o'clock. I can't.
That's right.
Have a national holiday for election day.
Mhm.
Everybody's off. Go vote that day, and paper ballots.
Yep. That's it.
How hard?
And show an ID, of course.
And
but
show
that's
them,
obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an obvious. Hey, I can't buy anything without.
Thank you, Eddie. By 80,000, we were pretty close.
80,000. I knew
Yep.
it was like 70, 80.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So, you can't. I can't get a driver's license. I can't get a plate for my vehicle without showing my driver's license. I
I
can't.
can't get anywhere. I can't get anything.
I mean, you have to have that to buy alcohol, cigarettes.
Yeah. Yep.
To get on a plane, you have to show that. If you want to go rent a car, you have to show an ID. Anything you do in this country, you have to show an ID. But let's.
I get a
take it away
tattoo. I got to
from-
show an ID.
Exactly. But let's take it away from voting. You don't need it for voting.
Yep.
Why would they want to do that? Would be my question.
There's only one answer. There's only one answer.
So-
Absolutely one answer. And then I guess I don't know if I have this on here. Do I? Dun, 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 dun. Maybe I do. Yeah, whistleblower. I'm sorry about this. And I'm seeing if I've got it
No.
on there.
You keep looking.
Oh, I couldn't because I had to get rid of one. Let me see if I can get rid of this real quick. Anyways, I had on here where Dinesh D'Souza is coming out with a new, if you know Dinesh D'Souza and his work, but he's coming out with a new documentary where it's buying ballots. They're actually buying. You can buy ballots, and in the tens of thousands.
Right.
So that's we know that this isn't legit. We know what's happening. How do you stop it? Like you said, no mail-in ballots.
One day vote. I mean, I get it. People.
That's
are
how you stop it.
And maybe
And
the
military, you can't get to the poll. I mean, there's reasons,
elder-
and
there's legitimate reasons, but
there are.
just because I don't want to go.
Mhm.
I mean, our daughter's been married for I believe 8 years now. And we're still getting things in her maiden name for ballots at our house. So I mean to fill it out, and so she's getting her own. Plus we're getting hers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you got to have one day voting.
You have to.
I don't know if this will ever happen in my lifetime, but one day voting. Let's make it a holiday. Let's make that 4-year presidential election a holiday, and you go and vote. And if you can't get there, then that's on you.
That's on you. Yep.
I
That's
mean,
right.
If you're not working and you're getting, if I have employees as a small business, I'd still, hey, go vote.
Go
I'll pay
vote.
you to do it.
Yep.
just
Exactly. Go vote.
I
Yep,
don't want to.
exactly.
Who you're voting for? Just go vote.
Yep.
Your
I
vote
always
is what
vote. I
matters.
never mail in. I've never had to.
Right.
I never have had to fill out an absentee ballot. But I always go on the day of voting. I always do. And to be honest with you, it's looking pretty good for the Republicans thus far as early voting, which is rare.
Right.
But I think that's also part of the plan too, because now they know how many they need on voting day to counteract the do you come on? They tried to assassinate the guy twice. They're blaming everything on Iran.
And now Iran's got a target on his head too. But
Iran's got a target on Trump Force One, his plane. They just came out and said it too. So tell me, and is it only Iran? No. You can't convince me of that, Rich. That it's just Iran and not working with anybody internally at Homeland Security or Department of Defense or CIA or FBI.
Right.
Yep. There's no way.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
I think
going back to the ballots,
Mhm.
I had one comment. I don't know if you saw the video where people are doing the dropping ballots off at the ballot box and people are standing outside with a bag. Did you see this?
I did see that.
They're standing out with a bag and tell them not to put them in the box, put them in their bag. This person holding it, they're already doing stuff. So if I drop it in her bag, what is she going to do with it?
What's she doing with it?
Yeah, I don't.
They're going to go take them, open them, keep the ones they want, throw out the ones they don't. That's what they're going to do. And then they're going to run it through a Dominion machine and it's going to count it as, hey, Harris has got the vote. I mean, we know.
Yeah. I mean, and we've been told that there's a mark on your ballot when you go.
Yes, we have.
I think you've mentioned that not to, it will be counted as disqualification. So
correct.
So if you go on election day and there's a mark on your ballot, make sure you get a new one.
Yeah.
Being aware of what they're trying to do and how, I mean, there's so many things that they could use to skew the system per se.
There is.
We've got to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, I know we talked earlier about the border and all that, and we got enough time. I want to share one thing.
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Okay. I know we're running a little bit late, but
yeah, it's all right.
It's about the border, you guys have probably heard over the weekend where it's come out that there's roughly let me pull that 425,000
Correct.
plus illegal immigrants that are convicted criminals being released in our country, and 13,000 of those, and this has been fact checked, 13,000 of those have committed homicide, and 15,000 has committed sexual assault.
Yep.
And these are people coming into the border and being released into our country.
Yep.
And just that alone, in my opinion, is treason. It's disqualifies the administration for what they're doing.
Yep.
I'm not comfortable, having grandchildren and my wife and my kids with all these convicted felons being released.
I am not.
I mean, and then needless to say, the people that have been incarcerated and then released under this administration.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, Dale. I'm not comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable at all with it. I'm not comfortable. I got to be honest with you. I'm very, our daughter, who's an adult, but exercises and does her thing and goes out for walks every day. I'm not comfortable with her doing that in an area that I know to be relatively safe.
Right.
But they're putting them everywhere in every small town, and they're who knows where the hell they're at, Rich. And none of that makes me comfortable.
We've had buses come up to our small community here.
Well, I was going to say, have you? Because it's southeastern Ohio is where you're at.
We're about we're about an hour south of Youngstown, 45 minutes from Pittsburgh.
Yep.
On the Ohio River, a town called Wintersville, which is borders with Steubenville, which has been in the news in the past, but a lot of people know that's where Dean Martin was born, and they have this big event here. But needless to say, they have dropped them off in that town and busloads, and we've seen that trickle down half a mile from my business. People.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I'm not saying those are criminals. I'm saying they're illegal immigrants. That's what
right.
And you can say what you want.
They're criminals because the first thing they did was create an illegal act.
So, I don't know if they're sexual assault criminals or homicide criminals, but they're definitely, if you've come into this country, let me be very clear. If you've come into this country illegal, you've already committed a crime.
You've committed the crime. That's right.
There's ways to become a citizen. There's ways to come into this country legally. And we support that. I'm not against immigrants. I mean,
none of us are.
We're all immigrants.
We're all immigrants.
I mean, my heritage is from Germany. My ancestors came over in the 1800s from Germany and came in legally. And obviously they came into the North Carolina, the Appalachian mountains, and all that kind of stuff. And then we filtered up to here. But if you don't do it legally, you've already committed a crime, right?
Yep, that's right.
Can we agree? Can we agree on that?
Can we at least agree to that? But no.
I mean, you've committed a crime, but why is it that the left wants to say, well, we got to get them to citizenship? If you've come in here illegally, and Kamala came out this past weekend, and so we need to get things in place to expedite them to citizenship.
Correct.
So you've committed a crime, and now you want to get them to citizenship. I don't know, and I know
County, Ohio, too. If you know where that's at, Rich.
I do.
They're getting there too. Only 30,000. So yes, they're noticing.
We had a couple of buses. Like I said, we live in a small community of 5,000-6,000 people. I mean, Steubenville's probably a little bit bigger. Our next city over, and then obviously we're not far from Wheeling, West Virginia as well.
Correct.
35-40 minutes. So we're surrounded by bigger areas, but our community have seen bus loads come in.
It's unbelievable. Well, let's not forget too, Rich, that Kamala Harris, I got one more video I want to play here. That Kamala, as senator, and remember, her values haven't changed. She said so herself.
She definitely said that.
Yeah. This is her talking about ICE. So
perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception.
I do not see a parallel between what is constitutionally mandated as it relates to enforcing the law.
Are you aware
protecting
that there's a
people's rights.
perception?
I see no
Are you aware
perception
that there's a
that
perception?
puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm very specific about what I'm asking you. Are you aware of a perception that the way that the discretion
I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished. Are you aware that there's a perception that ICE is administering its power in a way that is causing fear and intimidation, particularly among immigrants and specifically among immigrants coming from Mexico and Central America? Are you aware of that perception?
I do not see a parallel between the power and the authority that ICE has to do its job and the agents and officers who do it professionally and excellently with lots of compassion.
Sir, how can you be the head of an agency and be unaware of how your agency is perceived by certain communities?
There is a lot of perceptions in the media and in the public that are incorrect.
That's who Kamala is?
Painful. That was painful.
Painful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
Yeah. Let's turn that question around on her about her administration, about how do you not see? I don't know.
It's terrible. It's just absolutely. If again, a vote for Kamala is a vote for stupidity, and that's the sad part is that unfortunately, we have to pay for their ill decisions, and or their cheating, and it's just not. Sorry, I'm not willing to do that. So,
I go back to who's voting for her. I mean, who is saying I want higher taxes? I want illegal immigrants coming in. I want them to have. I want convicted felons to be in this country illegally, and I'm okay with it.
Well, the people watching CBS, ABC, and NBC, they're not seeing, they're not hearing that. They're one issue voters, so, and it's women's rights. So they just keep claiming women's rights. And so that's what they vote on, Rich.
Yeah. And again, if you're voting for Kamala because she's a woman, that's the wrong reason. You should be voting on policies, plain and simple. Start from the policies. I don't care if she's woman, black, Asian, red, purple. It doesn't matter to me.
Me neither.
The policies is where I'm looking at when I'm voting, and what aligns with me and what's best for my family.
They've asked Trump, why do you want to do this? He goes, I wish I didn't have to. Wish I didn't have to do this, but my God.
He's 77 years old.
He doesn't need to do it.
When I'm 77, I don't want to be thinking about running this country. I mean,
you still got 35 years for that, Rich, yourself.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Remember, you're better looking Jim. That's what you are. That's so.
Trump's only 17 years older than me. So that's,
oh my gosh. Yeah. You could have 2 full terms as president if you chose to run. Rich for president. Huh?
Don't want that.
Who would? That's the crazy part. Who would?
Hey, I want to, before I know we're about ready to wrap up here, I want to just quote Ben Carson real quick.
Please do.
Said, we have been conditioned to think that only politicians can solve our problems. But at the same point, maybe we will wake up and recognize that it was the politicians who created the problems.
Exactly. Yep.
So
that's true.
Remember, we the people are not the government. We, the people, are the ones that they should be afraid of. When I say afraid, we should be the ones that they're working for us. It's not the other way around. We're not working for them. And when you have a
that's
politician,
never been the case. They've always been working for us.
Exactly. And that's what our forefathers put. That's why we have a constitution. We're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And when we get to remember that, democracy is not what this country was founded on. It was on a constitutional republic. So we have.
So is Trump a threat to democracy? Yeah, I'd say he is.
If you want to look at it that way,
look at it that way, he is.
Yeah.
Yep. So
but as far as is he a threat to our country?
Nope. Not to our constitutional republic. He's not.
I don't think so. I mean,
at all.
Our forefathers wanted this country to be run like a business. That's how come we have a constitution. That's why we have everything in place to run it like a business. But we've gotten so far away from that our politicians are getting rich why they're in office, and
Mhm.
these long-term politicians just have got to stop.
Got to stop. Got to stop. Rich,
I don't-
thank you, my
Yeah.
friend, for joining today
absolutely.
and for
It's been
filling
fun.
in for Jim. Jim, you are missed. That is for sure. But Rich, what a
Absolutely.
bang up job. Look, you're a natural, just an
Yeah.
absolute natural at this. But no, honestly, I appreciate you jumping in and filling in.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely been a pleasure. You'll be back on Wednesday,
Correct. Yep.
to fill in for Jim, and then Jim will be back next week, of course.
Correct.
And then the following week, you'll be filling in for me. There's going to be off and on, but you may have your own syndicated podcast by then. With
Well, I mean, we'll see.
you could be the guy.
I'm the guy.
Don't forget who gave you your start, brother. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, this is true. Well, I owe,
Yeah.
you guys have become family too, Sharon and I.
we're
I
all
mean,
family.
I enjoy, a lot of people don't know, but we talk a lot
We do.
off record here, and we
Mhm.
talk a lot just on
Yeah.
our own days.
Yep.
And
Couple
with
times a
Jim
week
as
at
well.
minimum.
Yeah.
So,
And it's
yeah.
just always, it's good to have someone you can throw ideas off of. So
Yep,
anytime,
agreed.
you're part of my family, and
As you
I'd
are
be
ours,
remiss.
so.
I would be remiss not to mention Warrior Shield Foundation. I'm the
Correct.
treasurer of that company.
Yep.
Go support them if you
Yep.
can. WarriorShield.org.
Yep.
And that's all I got to say.
Please do. And then gritgearapparel.com, lockandloadcoffee.com. Use coupon code 2guys, get 10% off your first order, free shipping, everything over 125. Am I right? Am I saying that correctly? I believe so.
Correct. And that's on the apparel side.
On the apparel side.
On Lock and Load, you get free shipping if you do a subscription and order at least 2 products.
Oh, nice.
So if
Okay.
you're on a subscription
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah.
we do it free shipping, because shipping
Nice.
is, we're paying for that shipping, and it's costly,
are.
but we back to the consumer if you
Yep.
order a subscription, because that way it's
Yep.
going up based
It's
on what
awesome.
you choose.
Good
Yeah.
feature. Did not know that. So thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, for bringing that up. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you for being here
Absolutely.
with me. I enjoyed it. It was great. I can't wait till Wednesday. We will be
Absolutely.
back.
Absolutely.
Rich, until then, my friend, we'll talk soon. Thank you, everybody, for
Absolutely.
listening. We appreciate your support. Please like, follow, and share on Rumble. Go to the X, go to the X page, go to patriotsprayer.com. Follow us there. We appreciate the support and for you joining us today and starting your week off with us. It's an honor. That's
Absolutely.
for sure.
Honor.
That's for sure. Rich, you're the best. Folks, we'll see you all on Wednesday. Thanks. Have a great day. Talk to you soon, my friend. Bye.
Absolutely.